Anybody who's for any level of gun control, which is human control or infringement, is an enemy of this woman who just saved her own life using the tool they didn't want her to have. Share this everywhere. This is why I say that all gun control is racist. All gun control is misogynistic. All gun control is anti-human. Because basically what you're saying is we, the government, can use our guns to control you, but we don't want you to have guns to protect yourself. There's no audio to this, but here's this. This woman is walking with a limp. So she's already at a disadvantage. She's weaker than this guy. So she's got a limp. She's a woman. She's going to be naturally weaker than this man. And this man looks like he's going, I don't know if this is staged. People were saying, hey, this is staged. Whether this is staged or not, if this really happened, if this woman really protected herself like this, hats off to this woman. And sayonara, dude. Watch this. Trying to grab her. She gets a gun. There's the muzzle flash. Boom, center mass. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I thought I could overpower her. I thought I could take her to my lair and have my way with her and then dump her in the sewage system. Watch this. Limping. Weak woman. Strong man comes out. Thinks he's going to take advantage. She pulls out the great equalizer. Boom. It's over. Lights are out. You're gone. And I don't care, dude. What were you going to do with her? He wasn't going to do anything good to her. That's what I love that. I love justice. More women should be empowered like this. It looks like she knew what she was doing too. Look, she backed up to create space. She's limping along. Great disadvantage there, guys. Can't run away. Backs up, creates space, is reaching for, maybe she's practiced. Boom, muzzle flash. You're done. You're gone. So what do you guys think about that? That just makes that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. That makes me feel good. And it makes me pissed off at legislators who want to legislate that woman out of her right to be as powerful or more powerful than an assailant who's going to rape her and then probably murder her. It reminds me of Dr. Susanna Hupp. Remember her testimony? Susanna Hupp went to a Luby's restaurant with her mom and dad. I think it was back in 1991. And she used to be a concealed carry permit holder. Well, in the state of Texas, this happened in Killeen, Texas. She was legislated out of her right to keep and bear arms. So she didn't have her gun in her purse like she usually would. And I think the guy, his name is John Hernard, drives through the Luby's restaurant with his Ford Ranger, gets out, 26 people. 2 of those people was her mom and dad. And while it was all going on, she just instinctively reached in her purse to get her gun. And then she remembered, she says during this congressional testimony, and right then I remembered that my legislators legislated me out of my right to protect myself and my family.
A couple of years ago, my parents and I went to a cafeteria in Texas on a bright sunny day. We weren't in a dark alley where we weren't supposed to be. And as you all know the story, this madman drove his truck through the window. And he began shooting. Well, immediately, my father and I got down on the floor and put the table up in front of us. And this guy kept shooting. And you're thinking, what could it be? Is it a robbery? That's the first thing that generally comes to mind. And he keeps shooting. It took me a good 45 seconds to realize that this man wasn't there to commit a robbery. He wasn't there for a hit. He was there to simply shoot as many people as he possibly could. Now, I'd like to make something clear. I hear all this talk about how many bullets can go in a clip. I've been there. I can tell you it doesn't matter. It takes 1 second to switch out a clip. You can have 1 bullet or 100.
See, she's using the wrong terminology. I really think, and I'm not trying to nitpick here, especially on her, but we got to get the terminology right. You're not loading a clip. You put the rounds in a magazine, and then the magazine goes in the gun. It's a very rare gun where you're going to unload the clip into the gun. It does happen, but when they're talking about clips, they're really talking about magazines. I do think the terminology matters. The name of the guy, the madman that went into the Luby's restaurant, was George Hernard. And here, let me just show you this picture. Here's the picture of his Ford Ranger in the Luby's restaurant. So he basically just smashed into the front of it, drove his truck in there, got out of the truck, and while these people are trying to eat their Sunday dinner or whatever, he starts just slaughtering them, just systematically With a firearm, it is better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You will never regret having it. Yeah, sometimes it'll dig into your side when you're sitting in the booth to eat or whatever. And, you know, sometimes it gets into mine and Trisha's way when she's on my right side holding hands or hugging or something. And it kind of, you know, digs into her hip or whatever. And then she's got to go on the other side. But, you know, those are minor problems. If you ever need that and you have that bullet chambered and you've got enough ammunition in your magazine, you're going to be you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And they won't expect it, especially when it is concealed. And I open carry mine, and I know that's tactically inferior to the superior conceal carry, but I do it so that I can acclimate people around to not be so freaked out that, hey, they associate a guy that's happy, that seems well adjusted, doesn't look like he wants to harm anybody, but he's got a gun. And I want those wires to be connected in people's minds. That's why I open carry. They're not expecting anybody in a Luby's restaurant to shoot back at them unless there's a table of law enforcement. Let's put it that way.
100 bullets. It doesn't matter, guys. I've been there. He goes, dump, dump. Just like that. That's not enough time to rush a man. I promise you. When I finally realized what was occurring, I thought, I got him. And I reached for my purse. He was maybe 12 feet away. You know, is it possible my gun could have jammed? Sure. Is it possible I could have missed? Sure. But I can tell you I've hit much smaller targets at much greater distances. But then I realized that a couple of months earlier I had made the stupidest decision of my life. I took my gun out of my purse and left it in my car. Because as you well know, in the state of Texas, it's sometimes a felony offense to carry a gun in your purse.
And isn't that frickin' pitiful and disgusting and infuriating? That the state agents would look at you as a violator of their laws, as a criminal in the eyes of the state, because you wanted to keep a tool on your person at all times that would protect you from somebody like George Hernard. Sick.
I can tell you that I'm not mad at the guy that did this. As he continued, it was obvious that he was a madman.
That's a younger Chuck Schumer right there. He doesn't care about Suzanne Hupp. He just wants to take her guns away so that the world will be safer, he says.
My father at that point said, I just got to do something. I've got to do something. He's going to kill everybody in here. And he rushed the man. No way. This guy turned, shot him in the chest. He went down, was obviously mortally wounded. For whatever reason, that made the man change directions and go off to my left. Shortly thereafter, someone at the back of the restaurant broke out a window. When I saw what looked like an opportunity to escape, I turned around and I grabbed my mother by the shirt and I said, come on, we've got to run, we've got to get out of here. And then my feet grew wings and I was out the back window. As soon as I got out, I realized that my mother had not followed me out. And as I learned from the police officers, she had crawled over to where my father was and cradled him until the guy got back around to her, put the gun to her head. She looked up at him, put her head down, and he pulled the trigger. My parents had just had their 47th wedding anniversary. She wasn't going anywhere. As I mentioned, I'm not really mad at the guy that did this. And I'm certainly not mad at the guns that did this. They didn't walk in there by themselves and pull their own triggers. The guy that did it was a lunatic. That's like being mad at a rabid dog. I'm mad at my legislators for legislating me out of the right to protect myself and my family. I would much rather be sitting in jail with a felony offense on my head and have my parents alive.
Isn't that sad that is the corner that politicians want to paint you in? Oh yeah, if we catch you with the gun, like if in some places, if it's against the law for you to carry a gun and you actually put an end to a crime, you yourself can go to jail. That's how absurd and ridiculous these laws are. And that's how cockamamie and insane it is to vote for political parasites. Because again, none of them, Republican or Democrat, they don't care about you. They care about power. They care about prestige. They care about their positions. They care about money, but they don't care about you. As
far as these so-called assault weapons, You say that they don't have any defense use. You tell that to the guy that I saw on a videotape of the LA riots, standing up on his rooftop, protecting his property and his life from an entire mob with one of these so-called assault weapons. Tell me that he didn't have a legitimate self-defense use. Just one final statement.
That was Koreatown. Remember that in the LA riots? Koreatown. It's like the entire city was burning. It was mayhem. There were sirens. There was crazy flashbangs going on. People looting and rioting, and it was horrible. But then you look in Koreatown, it's like this little oasis of peace because they were patrolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until the riots were over with their shotguns and their Uzis and their automatics and semi-automatic rifles and everything. Nobody touched them. Nobody messed with the Koreans. Nobody broke their windows. Nobody was looting their shops because they fenced everything off and they posted armed guards that weren't law enforcement. That was the only place that had experienced peace during the LA riots.
I've been sitting here getting more and more fed up with all of this talk about these pieces of machinery having no legitimate sporting purpose, no legitimate hunting purpose. People, that is not the point of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is not about duck hunting. And I know I'm not going to make very many friends saying this, but it's about our right, all of our right to be able to protect ourselves from all of you guys up there.
Oh, she said it. I forgot about that. Hey, I appreciate you tuning into this channel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell notification icon. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. The purpose of me being on this platform is to ensure I get out the message of freedom and that everybody should be equally empowered. If you want a personal protection device, there shouldn't be any reason for anybody to infringe on that right to get a personal protection device. I will see you in the next video.